What's your dirty little secret? I knew I was going to see this cute guy at dinner. So I picked out a very sexy V-neck bodysuit. Of course. There was absolutely no way to wear a bra with it. I took my chances. But during dessert, I had a major nip slip. It just popped out. I had no clue what had happened until he finally awkwardly pointed it out. I'd been sitting there, eating sorbet with my bob out. There is an old bathroom in the warehouse where nobody but me and my boss, who doesn't go there, has access to. It is hidden behind a wall of boxes. 4 other doors and with no electricity. But the plumbing works. I have my personal toilet in there. And I regularly steal toilet paper from our shared bathroom and take it in there. Our bathroom we share upstairs is shitty AF. That one down there is a paradise. But there is no way in hell I am ever telling anyone. I sharted at my best friend's wedding. Spent 40 minutes in the toilet cleaning up and threw away my underwear in the middle of a field. I pooped in my ex's cat litter. Wife and I are currently separating. And I've been wary because she's spent a lot of time with a guy she knows, including staying over a lot. She has been claiming that nothing is or will happen. That it's the last thing on her mind right now, etc. She came home last Thursday morning with a shopping bag, where she'd picked up some juice for our children on the way home and put some of her own stuff in it too. I thought I'd help out when she went to work by emptying said bag, only to pull out a suspender belt with stockings attached. So my secret is that I didn't tell her that I found that last week. I puked in my friend's staircase after too many shots. Luckily she didn't notice when we left her place the next morning and only saw it when we got back. Her and her flatmate discussed who could have done it and whether it could have been the neighbor's dog. But in the end thought it was too much puke for a dog. Despite me saying it could totally have been the dog. In the end they figured it must have been one of the downstairs neighbors who apparently are known for coming home super drunk. I have fallen out of love with my so of 3+ years and I am way too afraid to break it off. My secret, I guess, is that I'm a cowardly little it. So did my ex of 5+ years. Apparently she was struggling with these emotions for a year and eventually cheated on me. When she told me about that, she told me about her doubts. I was very sad that she had these doubts. But her cheating on me really destroyed me. I feel like if she had told me about her doubts we would have broken up too. But it would have been clean and fair. Please consider talking to your so about these feelings. I once pissed on a tree at a party and then a minute later I saw my buddy sitting at the tree with a girl and when they got up their pants were wet. I've cracked one off in every bathroom of every office I've ever worked. This isn't normal. My mom assumes I lost my virginity to my first serious boyfriend in high school. In reality, it was one of the guys working construction on the new house behind us. Definitely glad I faked sick from school that day. Edit, I was over the age of consent. So everyone messaging me stop asking lol. This sounds like a whole porno. It's not nearly as interesting as it probably sounds. I was 17. He was 20. And went to school with my brother. I knew him sorta well. And it wasn't uncommon for him to stop by our house to use our guest bathroom or get a drink. He also would often leave his lunch in our refrigerator. Anyway, I played hockey from school one day. My dad was at work and my mom had just left to go out to lunch with friends. He stopped by to get his lunch. Surprised to see me. He gave me a bunch of crap about skipping school. We watched TV for a few minutes. I'm sure you all can use your imagination as to what happened next. I'm a pretty handsome guy and everyone thinks I have an easy time talking to girls. However I'm awkward as shit and I also wear women's clothing. To elaborate further I do it in private and don't often tell women about it. On one occasion one girl went shoe shopping with me and that's how I got my first pair of high heels. I love pantyhose. I love it on women. And I love it more so on myself. Sometimes I would wear full lingerie underneath my normal clothes and go to school or work. I farted once when I was driving the car with my wife in the passenger seat. She smelled it and thought I burped and said it smelled like beef jerky that she assumed I had recently eaten. Then she said she was now hungry for some beef jerky. I just played along like I burped. I don't know what's worse. The fact that my bowels smelled like beef jerky or the fact that my wife got hungry after smelling my fart. The dead mice skeletons in a coffee cup in my room from like 10 years ago. I had a pet snake at the time. And my parents and I were going somewhere for like 2 days. I was supposed to feed the snake the next day. And I wasn't sure if I should feed it before we left or after we got back, a day too early or a day late. I asked my father and he said to feed her now. So as I start defrosting the mice in a cup of warm water, my mother comes down and says to feed her when we get back. We're leaving in a few minutes. Capital I. Being a confused child. Panic because I had it in my head that I couldn't refreeze the mice as they would be bad. But I didn't want them to go to waste. I ended up shoving them in a corner on my dresser and covering the cup with some random stuff. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. I think it would be the shame of being seen if I tried to put them back or throw them out that made me do it. At first I didn't clean it up because I thought it would be smell super bad if I moved the stuff. And I was terrified of being seen. After a while I kind of forgot about it since the stuff it's under is never really moved. And now I don't even sleep in that room anymore. It's used for storage. No one knows my strange childhood shame. And it's just never on the top of my to-do list as an adult. Okay, so one time I was walking around on TGE Beach a few years ago and I wanted some snacks but I left my wallet in my house, so me hungry young and dumb thought acting homeless was the best idea to get some cash. Well, 20 minutes into me sitting on a curb, some weird guy walks up to me and says, "Hey, you're kinda cute for a homeless guy, I'll give you some money if you do something for me." At that point I wanted to leave but my dumbass stayed and followed him to a dark alleyway. Then he turns to me and says, "How much to watch you sheet?" And I stood there for a few minutes just taken back. I said $500 joking and he pulled out a stack of cash. So I hate to say this but I got paid for cheating in a alley, but the food was worth it. 10/10 would be homeless again. Edit. Holy shit guys, tie for the gold. I don't post much but now I'm really considering being homeless again, lol. Picked up a box of the street, the size of a matchbox, had some heft to it. Pocketed it and walked home. Turns out there were bullets in it and owning said bullets is illegal in my country, so now I'm trying to figure out a way of disposing of them without getting caught or ending up injuring some poor dump truck worker. This is hilarious. So when I was 4 or so, me, my brother, and my mom were having a quick lunch at one of those gas stations that has a deli in it. While we're eating, I take a little $3 dinosaur toy off the shelf and start playing with it. My brother, eager to be the family big dig, tries to tell on me about it. I of course deny it and stuff the toy in my pocket to hide it, with the intention of putting it back when I got a second. Well, that opportunity never came and before you know it we're leaving the store and driving home. I swear that toy felt like a hot molten coal in my pocket. I was panicking and just wanted it gone. We get home and go inside and still this guilty toy burns at my side. We have a big yard, so I wait what I thought was an appropriate amount of time and go outside to play. I go to some thick bushes and with all the power a toddler can muster throw the evidence in. Nobody has ever known. But the guilt over that $3 toy haunts me to this day. Most of the time, save for a few select people in my circle, I don't really care about what goes in with their lives. I just ask things to be polite. When I was a sophomore undergrad at university studying computer science in Europe, I spent one summer interning at a prestigious software company in the US as a software engineer. One day after lunch I was feeling kind of drowsy and I couldn't get myself to write any code. To waste some time and to wake up, I decided to go to the bathroom for a wank. So I hit the male bathroom, got in a stall and started jerking it. I started slowly and carefully so that I wouldn't make any noise. But I couldn't come like that. So as the feeling started getting better, I got to a point where I was milking my junk hardly and vigorously, with eyes closed. At some point I'm ready to come, but a coworker has walked into the bathroom without me hearing him. outside of my stall. I only realized this when I suddenly opened my eyes. To my horror, I realized the wall slit separating the stall door from the stall wall is much bigger in the US than in EU, where you get to keep your privacy in your stall. And my coworker is looking right through the slit into me, worried that I was having a seizure or something. In a domination move, I stop jerking off and I look him straight in the eyes, big dick in hand. At which point he realized I was just rubbing one out. So he just quickly walked away, took a piss at the urinal, and left the bathroom. I then proceeded to finish. I tuck my girlfriend in each night and nuzzle her a lot. It helps her fall asleep and she appreciates it immensely. I also do it so she'll fall asleep, and I can go crank it to so much porn. Edit. Tuck, not tug. When I was in school I used to get bullied a lot, and when I was 11 my dad got a job offer somewhere else so we had to move. The last day I went to that school it was payday, physical education, which meant that first thing in the morning everyone had to change into their pay clothes and leave their regular class uniforms on their desks. We didn't use lockers. For that day I had made this really awful stink spray with rotten eggs and a whole bunch of other stuff in it, and I came in late that day so the classroom would be empty. I proceeded to take out the spray and sprayed the uniforms of all the kids that had bullied me. Some people noticed I had been the only kid in the classroom, but nobody imagined it was me because I had always been the nice kid of the class. One of the bullies even asked me if I had seen anybody else walk into the classroom when I was in there. TLDR. Stink sprayed the uniforms of bullies in class and nobody figured it was me, even though I was the only one left alone in the classroom because I had always been the nice kid. I almost died when I was 7 and my parents don't know. I was with my brother's wife, then GF, out on the town doing some errands. I run ahead cause I'm a kid and she yells for me to stop. When I hear her I realize I'm on the tram rail crossing and a tram was coming. I ran back to her scared shitless. We agreed not to tell anyone since we'd both be neck deep in trouble XD. My best friend drunk masturbated in my bed right next to me while she thought I was asleep. I was 50/50, just lay here and hope she doesn't realize you're awake, offer my help. You can guess which option my dumbass self chose. She admitted to it about 6 months later and was super embarrassed. Mostly because she thought I was asleep, but also because she didn't even think, hey, there's a guy like a foot from me who could provide assistance. Long time ago when I was like 10-11, a cousin of mine that had 13+ years showed me his willy and touched me improperly and also asked me weird questions. I think the only thing that stopped him from raping me was that there was a store nearby and we were in his backyard, so if I screamed someone would definitely come. He never threatened me, but I felt really weird so I never told anyone about it. I lost my virginity last Friday, and my parents don't even know that I started dating someone, or that I had an LDR and did a lot on camera with that person as well. I am a product of strict upbringing, so I guess it's my time to go wild. I once pissed into a liter of sweet vermouth after hours at the country club I worked at, then fed the whole bottle, straight-faced, to a Jackers customer the next day. He said I made the best Manhattans. I watched the man drink my piss for most of the day. Oh god. So one night on the way back from work I was really feeling it, and I thought, why don't I just jerk off in my car on the side of the road? Now it was pouring down rain that night and I live in the middle of nowhere. So I pulled over and did my thing and whatever. I went to pull off the grass I was in, and oh duck, I'm stuck in mud in my 0-2 feet Honda Accord. So I'm pushing with all my ducking will. BTW, I'm on someone's property and they can definitely see a car with headlights on from their house. So I think I'm gonna get caught stuck. Thankfully with the will of God I got out. But man, I feared for my life. I once ate spaghetti factory food right before a motorcycle trip with a friend. Had to make an emergency stop at a Wendy's to sheet, and once I ran into that bathroom the only toilet stall was being used, so I had to use the urinal or sheet my pants. My friend walked into me sitting in the urinal and we both left a sap. Still feel bad about that, and it's something me and my friend never talked about since, as if it never happened. Sorry, Wendy's bathroom person. I would leave my current life behind in moments if I had the opportunity to move to Sweden permanently. I've regretted a few past choices, so if this came up, I'd sacrifice my marriage and everything else to go. A couple months before one of my best friends and his girlfriend started dating, me and her hooked up. A lot. They hadn't even met each other yet, so there is no foul play. We met at a party. Both of us had recently gotten out of long-term relationships, so we were able to kind of bond over that. One thing led to another and we hooked up that night. Both of us decided that it wouldn't be smart to jump into something after a long-term relationship, but we also decided that we really liked having sex with each other. Crazy sexual chemistry. So we decided to basically just be each other's booty call. We seriously didn't even text that much unless it was about meeting at my place or hers. It really was just about sex. This goes on for about a month and then she meets my buddy through a mutual friend and they pretty much fell for each other immediately. They've been together for 2 years now and I honestly think they will probably get married. I know they've talked about it for a while. Her and I considered telling him, but we've since decided that we are pretty much taking it to the grave. The way we see it, it's just not worth the potential damage it could cause to both our friendship and their relationship. Nobody did anything wrong. They didn't even know each other. Sometimes it's best to just leave the past in the past. I'm a swinger. In an open relationship. From the outside, we look like a typical wholesome family. But me and my so go to orgies or have threesomes foursomes at least 2-3 times a month. A few months ago I accidentally learned that my parents also used to be swingers. Wonder if this is genetic? I once got in a dumpster to look for the keys to my house, which were in my house, because I thought I had lost them and didn't want to tell my mom or she'd get mad. I took out the garbage and thought I had thrown my keys in the dumpster along with the bag. It was almost empty, but I stepped on a bottle of oil and it was nasty AF. Took 2 showers to get rid of the smell. My dirty little secret. When I was about 13, I was asked to watch a neighbor's house while they went on vacation. They wanted me to come over each day and feed water their cats. They also wanted me to check on the house and gave me a key. Before I get to the juicy bit, a little backstory. I had lived next to this family for most of my life. I played with their sons on a daily basis despite them being younger. While I never thought about it actively, I had always liked Mrs. M. It wasn't until about a month or so before this house sitting that I figured that I did more than just like her. On the first couple of days I resisted temptation. Once a week had passed my resolved weekend until I couldn't help myself but explore. I found myself drawn to Mrs. M's bra drawer. I didn't know why I liked them so much or what was compelling me to do it, but I couldn't stop playing with them. As fate would have it, that was the afternoon they chose to return home. Once I heard the car door shut, I thought my heart was going to explode. In just seconds I had to put everything back in the drawer and get out the back door and escape over my fence. I ran as quickly as I could but didn't make it in time. I bumped right into Mrs. M, who just had a huge smirk on her face. I don't remember if I said anything to explain anything or if I just bolted. They never said anything about it and asked me to watch the house every year after. Little bit of novel, but I thought I'd share. I worked a boring as night shift in a large windowless room for 2 years with one other guy. At some point we started sucking each other off and did it for about a year. Eventually we both got girlfriends and moved on to different jobs. I don't have any intentions to do it again. I don't find men attractive, but the BJS feels so much better than jacking off in the shower. It's kind of was like masturbation but using a mouth rather than my hand, since neither of us had any attraction other than the mutual like of getting off.